Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Tower of God New World. In today's video, we are going to check out the brand new event boss, the White Demon. And I'm not gonna lie, this boss completely disappointed me. But before I explain any further, make sure that you guys hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't. I'd really appreciate it. And if you guys are new here on the channel, I have a Discord server. So if you guys are interested, I'll be putting the server link in the comment section down below so that you guys can join up. But anyways, let's not waste any time. Let's hop right into the video. All right, so the brand new boss that we have is the Gray Debon, and of course I have no attempts remaining because there is no practice attempts in this game. But anyways, this boss is, how can I say this? This boss is poorly designed, and let me explain why. So we already know that, you know, event boss battles in Tower of God New World, they're not easy. All of the bosses that we've had in event boss, they're pretty much difficult. I'll say that amigo shards was actually pretty easy, but Kunadon, Vivi, all of these bosses, they were actually difficult. But this boss right here, I just feel like this boss just has a terrible, he just has a terrible design overall. So what really makes his design terrible is his passive. His passive just, I just don't understand, because I understand where they were going with his passive, but when I read it even more, I was like, okay, like what in the world, like what is this at this point? So let's go ahead and read it. It says, the Gray Demon ascends every 4 tiers, filling its flight gouge by 200% of the damage required to complete the current tier. So this right here, this is just the beginning. This is literally this is just, you know, the first part as of to why his design, like his gameplay design, is just terrible. So he has these 4 tiers basically, and what those 4 tiers are, let's just call it DPS check. You have to meet these 4 tiers in order for you to, there's basically 4 levels, right? Every single time you reach a level, you're gonna have to survive that level and deal a certain amount of damage in order for you to go to the next level and deal some more damage. The flight gouge remains for 10 seconds, preventing the Gray Demon from taking damage while increasing its attack by 100%. The flight gouge can be depleted by dealing damage to it, taking 100% more damage from blue element enemies. So this is already confirmed that you're gonna need a blue element team in order for you to actually fight against this boss, because the only way that you can deplete this gouge is by using blue element units. So this is already confirmed. You have to use blue element allies. If you fail to deplete the flight gouge to 0 within 10 seconds, the Gray Demon lands and becomes invincible for 8 seconds. If you successfully deplete the flight gouge to 0, the Gray Demon falls to the ground and becomes stunned for 2 seconds. So basically, if you don't deplete the gouge to 0 within 2 seconds, he's going to become invincible for 8 seconds, and you don't want that to happen. But if you're using blue element allies and are continuously attacking him, and you successfully deplete it to 0, he's going to be stunned for 2 seconds. And honestly, the 2-second stun isn't even that huge. It's not even that long. They should have made the stun a little bit longer, like at least 5 or 10 seconds, to make it a lot easier. But 2 seconds, that's literally nothing. Now let's move on. It says the Gray Demon becomes temporarily invincible immediately after no longer being stunned from falling. Now this part right here is where I just looked at this whole passive. I'm like, then what is the point of, like, what's the point of the stun and depleting his gouge when he's going to be invincible no matter what? Because when we look at this part, it says you deplete the flight gouge to 0 within 10 seconds so that you can prevent him from going invincible, and he's going to get stunned for 2 seconds. But when we continue, it says that he's still going to be temporarily invincible after no longer being stunned. So after the stun goes away, he's going to gain an invincibility. So it's like what? So that's why I'm saying, like, the stun, it would have been better if they increased the stun for like 10 seconds so that you can deal, you know, your damage for 10 seconds, and once the 10 seconds are up, he's going to gain his invincibility. In addition, the Gray Demon becomes immune to status effects, as well as defense, physical resistance, and magic resistance decrease debuffs during battle. So he also has status immune effects as well. So this passive is what makes this boss, in my opinion, it's just I see where they were going, but this part right here, the stun for 2 seconds and then the temporarily invincible, it just doesn't match because you're not giving us enough time to deal damage against this boss after we stun him. And then the invincibility, like literally, I'm going to replay for you guys all of my fights, but he is literally invincible like every 5 or 6 seconds. It's crazy. So that's pretty much his passive. And I think like the active, I mean, this active right here is not really that serious. He just steals magic and physical resistance and he applies it to himself. Okay, whatever. And then he also applies like an HP recovery block to like your highest defense unit. So if you're using like an Escanor or if you're using a Flight Eric Mazino, he's going to reduce their HP recovery. And then this right here, he basically decreases energy by 200. Now this right here, it says the Gray Demon attacks the farthest enemy if there are no support type enemies. So if you don't have a support unit on your team, he is going to attack the unit who is far away. And it says support type enemies hit by this skill become silenced for 10 seconds. So regardless whether or not you have a support unit, your support unit is always going to get hit. So let's go ahead and talk about teams. Now, the highest damage I was able to deal was 45 million damage. And I'm going to explain to you guys why I was able to only deal that much damage. So I did a lot of attempts. And as you guys can see, for 2 attempts, I was stuck at 45 million. That was tier. If we look at his passive, there's 4 tiers. So I was basically stuck on tier 1. And tier 1 is 45 million damage, and I'm pretty sure for tier 2 it is 90 million damage. And then I think for tier 3 it's going to be 180 million. So each tier is basically double the amount of damage he received. So 45 million plus 45 million is going to be 90 million, and then 90 million plus 90 million is going to be 180 million. That's basically how the tiers work. So I was stuck in tier 1, obviously. Now the team that you want to use is Blue Element team, of course. Blanc, you want to use Blanc because she's basically a support unit, and she's going to prevent the Gray Demon from attacking Elizabeth, because Elizabeth is going to be the unit that's going to be far away. But the problem with this is that Blanc is also going to be far away as well. So the Gray Demon, chances are he might attack Blanc first. So this is where everything is a lot like it starts to get a lot of like, this is just start to get a little bit confusing, because if I use Blanc right with Elizabeth and I put her in the back row, Blanc might get hit by his attack and she's gonna die first. So you probably want to put Blanc up top so that she won't receive the damage and Elizabeth is going to receive the damage, because Elizabeth has that revive. That's pretty much how you want to do it. Now, the reason why I put Vespa in this team is because Vespa, she can literally like lower the Gray Demon's swiftness. And it's not a lot, but she can like lower just a little bit. She can lower his movement speed and attack speed, you know, because of the swiftness. So that's the reason why I was using Vespa. I was testing her out. But you also want to use Blurode, because Blurode is pretty much good against his boss. He can set the physical and magic resistance to 0, which is pretty solid. But he's still going to steal physical and magic resistance from Escanor because of this active skill right here. So you'll want to use Blurode so that you can deal some good damage. Flight Eric Mazino, the only reason why I used him is because he's going to apply that additional he's going to apply that shield to the team, which is really nice. So Elizabeth is basically going to be your main DPS unit in this team. Escanor can also deal good damage because he is like Escanor, his survivability against his boss is actually pretty good. But Elizabeth, main DPS unit, she does insane damage against his boss. And Meliodas as well. I also use Meliodas, he's not bad as well. But let's go ahead and replay this, and I'm going to show you guys how the tiers work. So we're gonna jump in, and you guys are going to see what I'm talking about Blanc getting one-shotted, because I think she was the farthest unit. So as you guys can see, the 2 farthest units are Elizabeth and Blanc. So chances are he might attack Elizabeth or he's going to attack Blanc. So that's why I say you might want to put Blanc up top so that he won't attack Blanc first. So we're currently at 3 million, and you see that green bar up there. You want to deplete that to 0. And the only way you can do that is by using blue element units so that they can attack him. And if you don't have blue element allies, they're not going to deplete that bar at all. So they're going to deplete it. as you guys can see. And look at the stun. He's currently stunned right now, but he's going to gain that invincibility. And look at this. You're going to see a little barrier around him. We're just gonna wait for it. Look at that. You see the barrier? He's receiving no damage. So it's like, I feel like that just doesn't really correlate to the stun. Like, it's just very difficult to go around that. So we're dealing some damage right now. We're trying to go up to the first tier. And as you guys can see, he immediately destroyed my Blanc. So now the next thing he's gonna do is he's going to do like another attack where he's gonna push everybody back. So this attack right here, we were able to survive that. But look, this is the first tier now. We're currently in tier 1, which is 45 million damage, and we're trying to get we're basically trying to deplete this green bar. So we're currently working on that. But look how much damage he's able to deal in tier 1. And Elizabeth, the fact that she can revive herself, she can automatically counter that one-shot attack. So as you guys can see, look at the damage, man. It's crazy. So I feel like that is just poor design right there, because if they can allow us to deal, like if they can just reduce the amount of invincibility he can apply to himself, I feel like it would be possible to reach tier 2 or even tier 3. But the fact that he's constantly applying invincibility over and over and over and over again, it is really hard. Like, the only way that you can basically bypass tier 1 and tier 2 is essentially leveling up your characters to at least level 300 or level 320. And I'm going to go ahead and show you guys everybody else's rank. So if we look at, the top ranked players against this boss, they all have one thing in common. Their level is extremely high and they have a lot of copies on each character. So we're going to go to like the lowest ranked character, so the lowest ranked player. So his damage was 93 million, so he was able to reach tier 2. So let's go ahead and check out his team. So of course the team that he's using is probably going to be Blue Element. Actually, no, it's not. He used an entire yellow team, which is really weird. But this person used a yellow team and he's running no support units. But the thing is, you guys see what he did? He put Evan up top, and that's actually really smart, because Evan, since he's going to stay in the back as well, that's going to allow Kunadan to basically like avoid that, probably take that one-shot damage. So that's how you want to use a support character. You want to put the support character in the front row so that they are the ones so that they won't receive that one-shot attack from the Gray Demon. You want the range unit to get that attack instead, because he's going to target the unit who's far away from him. So this guy's team is actually interesting. Now let's see if we can check someone who went to tier 3. This guy, okay, tier 3. I'm pretty sure tier 3 has 180 million. So we're gonna just replay someone's fight real quick. Okay, why is everybody using a yellow team? That's actually pretty weird. So I'm gonna try to find somebody and see if we can actually replay their Alright, so this person is using an all blue team. So as you guys can see, he put Blanc in the back row, so his Blanc is going to get one shot. I can just tell that his Blanc is going to get destroyed. But let's go ahead and replay this. Now, he was able to do a ton of damage, and the reason why is because, of course, he probably has a lot of actually, he doesn't even have a lot of copies of these characters. He only has the 3 Blue Star Meliodas. He has Rainbow Blanc, Rainbow Kunran. So what really matters is the level of your character, how much you level up your characters. So we're gonna go in and see the damage real quick. Now let's see if the Blanc is able to stay alive right here. So Kunran dealing some good damage right there. Okay, so you guys see that invincibility, right? So now he reached tier 1. He's currently in tier 1. He's stuck on 45 million damage, basically level 170. And let's see if his Blanc can survive. So his Blanc received huge damage right there, and he was able to bypass that tier 1, and now he's going to enter tier 2, which is 90 million damage. So now he's in tier 2 right now. All right, so his Blanc died. I told you guys. So his Blanc died because his Blanc was the farthest unit away from the Grey Demon, so she's going to receive the most damage. So Blanc died. Now let's see if he can reach tier 3. Okay, he's doing pretty good so far. Okay, so his Escanor died. So it's actually crazy to me how even Escanor. Now the thing is that his Escanor only has like 3 blue stars. So maybe that's the reason why he couldn't survive. But the fact that Escanor got completely annihilated at tier 2 is crazy to me. So let's see if he can actually reach tier 3. So he was able to bypass tier 2, but can he actually reach tier 3? Okay, Flight Eric Mazino. Okay, so he wasn't able to reach tier 3. He was able to reach tier 2 in total. So this player did an absolute amazing job. So that's pretty much the way you want to fight this boss. Like, all I can tell you guys is that you want to use blue element team. Blanc, I would recommend you guys to put Blanc in the top row. And if you're using Elizabeth, you should put Elizabeth in the bottom row so that Blanc won't get one-shotted. Because if you put Blanc and another unit that stands in the back row, like a ranged unit or a mage unit, they're both gonna, like, you're gonna have to rely on RNG to see which unit is gonna get attacked first, which is gonna be Blanc or the other range unit. So you can either use Meliodas, Kunran, but I think Elizabeth is actually pretty good against this boss overall, and Flight Eric Mazno is actually pretty decent as well. So this was a really good team that this person was able to form. So overall, I just think that this boss, is it pay to win? I wouldn't say this is a pay to win boss, but it is definitely like the concept of this boss is similar to like a DPS check boss. You don't have to deal damage to bypass the tiers. You're just gonna have to survive the amount of damage he deals every single time you reach a specific tier. Because my problem with this boss is the amount of times he can apply invincibility to himself and how short the stun is. Like 2 seconds is so short. I wish that they can increase the duration of the stun. It would have been a lot better. But the fact that he gets stunned for only 2 seconds and then he immediately gets invincibility, like the fact that he applies invincibility to himself immediately after the stun, that's just absolutely OP. So overall, if I were to rank this boss out of 1 out of 10, I would definitely give this boss a solid, I would give this boss a 4 out of 10. If I'm being honest, I will give this boss a 4 out of 10. I see what they were doing with this boss, but the fact that even using blue element, you still can't even get past tier 1. Like, in order for you to get past tier 1, you're gonna have to have at least, your characters have to have at least level 300 and up, or level 290 and up, in order for you to get past tier 1. It's basically a DPS check. So yeah, this boss, I'm gonna have to do more attempts tomorrow and see and check out other teams. But yeah, the best team of course is going to be blue element team. They do this all the time. Every update, every event boss, there's always a specific element that the boss is weak to. I'm pretty sure the last boss was, I forgot which element it was weak to, but I'm pretty sure for the 7 Nights collaboration event, the boss was weak to green element. So there's always a specific element that the boss is weak to in each event boss battle. For this update is blue element, so this boss is definitely going to be weak against blue element. So yeah, man, this boss is tough. Like, out of all the bosses we've had in the game so far, this definitely has to be the worst one so far. He's even worse than Vivi. For Vivi, at least you can deal a decent amount of damage against Vivi, but this boss right here, it literally has DPS check mechanic to it, which is absolutely insane. So I'm just gonna have to test some more characters. And Hwarun is actually another decent unit to use against this boss, because she can basically increase everyone's swiftness. Like, the fact that she has that swiftness increase is really good. So she's definitely a good unit that you want to use against this boss. But I'll definitely recommend you guys to use blue element units like Kunran, Elizabeth, Escanor, Meliodas, Blanc. You can also use Leroy. You can use him. Leroy, I forgot that guy's name, but you can use Blurode. You can use a lot of blue element units to fight against this boss, but honestly, I can't really Like, the only thing I can tell you guys to do is to pretty much level up all your characters. That's the only thing I can tell you guys to do. You can use this guy, Lero. You can use Blue Road, Elizabeth, Kunran, Flight, Earth Mazino, even Data Mashni isn't bad. Blanc, Meliodas, Escanor, and Elizabeth. Those are like all the units you basically want to use against this boss. Novik, Novik is kind of useless, to be honest, because he can't even inflict the silence on the boss. So yeah, man, this boss is pain. I'm not gonna lie, this boss is pain. So if you guys have any other, teams, any other ideas, please put it in the comment section down below. Like, if you guys have any other teams that can bypass the tier 1, that would be really dope, because right now I'm trying to figure out how to get past that tier 1, and the only way is to pretty much level up your characters to at least level 300 so that you can deal some more damage, because it all comes down to survivability. If you're able to survive the amount of damage he deals each tier, you'll be able to go to the next tier. So that's literally all this boss is. DPS check. That's literally it. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't. I really appreciate it, and I'll be catching you guys on the next one. Peace.